Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, Assemblywoman Alexis Hansen joins us, plus Rebecca Goff. She's the Nevada State Director for the Humane World for Animals. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
When in Carson City, Nevada Newsmakers records in the conference room of the Nevada Builders Alliance. Coverage of the 2025 legislative session is brought to you by Pro Group Management, Workers' Comp that works for you. NV Energy, proudly serving Nevada, providing electricity to 2.4 million electric customers. The Retail Association of Nevada, looking out for business. And by Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
A power line is more than a power line. It's maintaining the bottom line for small businesses. It's keeping the assembly line moving for our workforce. For our brightest minds, it's meeting a deadline. It's on the front line with our heroes. And on the sidelines of the biggest games. It's a direct line to our loved ones. And it's a lifeline for the most vulnerable. There's a lot on the line.
Your good times are at Tamarack Casino during the $150,000 Denim and Diamonds giveaways with cash and free play drawings every Thursday and Saturday, and $30,000 in grand finale giveaways Saturday, May 31st, including a top prize of $20,000 guaranteed. Your good times are at Tamarack Casino.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, come to you from Carson City. We're here at the home of the Nevada Builders Alliance, and we're delighted to welcome back to the program Assemblywoman Alexis Hansen. She's a Republican from District 32. Pleasure to have you back.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
We have been working hard to get you back on the program, so thank you for doing this. I know how busy you are. Let's talk about a couple of bills that you have that are still alive. AB 383 is high-impact tutoring standards. What is that? What does it mean?
Oh, that's a great bill. So in Nevada, we have the ability, districts have the ability to purchase, and they do, from certain vendors, some tutoring programs. And we have found that there's been some vendors that when you look at it scientifically, they don't necessarily have best practices. So Stanford and Johns Hopkins, this Stanford Student Accelerator program, has done an intensive work on finding the high-impact tutoring standards that really help with remediation. And post-COVID, we've seen some real challenges in trying to get students back up to speed.
We haven't really talked about that very much in public or in the media, about the remediation part of this.
Right, and so just to give you an example of where we are in the state with our graduation rates are at about 83%, but post-COVID, our English language arts proficiency, we don't do proficiency testing anymore, but the proficiency rate is about 47%. But yet the graduation rate is 83%. And then for math, it's even worse. It's about 26%. So obviously,
we got to hit that number.
Mm-hmm.
The math rate is 26%.
Yes. Yep.
So if you don't have a calculator and know how to use it.
Right. So essentially, we're saying about 80% of kids are not proficient in math. It's a frightening statistic. Our hair should be on fire. And I'm kind of, and some of my other colleagues, it's like, we're the squeaky wheel. Like, we've got to find, why is there this disparity between graduation rates? We've got 83%. Of course, it could be higher, but if you've got 83% of those graduates, but their proficiency rates are well below 50%, there's something that's wrong.
Well, and there always has been. I mean, ever since I started doing this, there's always been this discussion of, well, when you get to college, you have to do remediation, which makes no sense. I mean, when Jim Rogers was chancellor, we had many discussions about this, why is there not, a discussion between the university system and K through 12 to be able to say, okay, when you graduate from K through 12, you are ready for college, when in fact a huge amount of money is spent on remediation, and it sounds like it's just getting worse.
Right. And so with this bill, what this bill would do is put in statute that when, and this would be done through the state school board, the State Board of Education, that they would put into regulations that we have these certain high impact tutoring standards that have proven to be very effective, sometimes 15 to 20 times ability to move the child up in their proficiency. And so if we put those impact standards in statute and then develop into the regulation process, and it's it's permissive language. So when a district is going to use taxpayer dollars to buy a tutoring program for their district, we can say, here, these are the standards, and there's at least 24 in the United States of these vendors that have high impact tutoring standards that kind of had the seal of approval from Stanford and Johns Hopkins. And in those states, a variety of states are doing this kind of high impact tutoring, from Louisiana to Colorado to Tennessee to Washington. There's a variety of blue and red states that are doing this and seeing some really good improvement. So I've got high hopes. It passed unanimously out of committee in the Assembly and on the Assembly floor. I just had a hearing in the Senate, and so we're working through that and hoping to get that through.
Okay, what kind of reaction have you gotten from the teachers' unions?
They didn't weigh in. Really? Right. They didn't weigh in at all. I got some pushback in the Senate from mainly one senator, Senator Don Darrell Loop, who's, a former teacher, questioning why we're already doing some things. I just said, in this building, we do best practices and codify best practices in a myriad of ways. In judiciary, we have best practices for some things that we do in those committees. And so, but that's normal to have questions, and the Senate sometimes view things differently than the Assembly, and that's a good thing. We need to vet it. So I am doing some amending to the bill. We don't want to be too specific in statute, and that was a little bit of the pushback I got, and in full fairness, some Republicans asked that, as well as Democrats on the committee. And so things like tying the ratio number into a set number, maybe we need some flexibility. So we have an amendment. I think it's going to satisfy everybody, and so hopefully we'll get high impact tutoring
Is there a fiscal note on this?
No, because when it first came out of legal, it did, because it was being done through the Nevada Department of Education. But we wanted it to reside with permissive language as a may for the State Board of Education to put into regulation these high impact tutoring standards that have, evidence-based to get us the results that we really need in Nevada.
Joan Ebert, who headed up the State Department of Education, has now taken the job of running the Clark County School District. I just think she's a very brave woman.
She is, and I would second that.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Thanks.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
The trucking industry is the most resilient link in the supply chain, moving 95% of our freight in the Silver State. And while essential, the road isn't always smooth. Supply chain disruptions, rising fuel costs, and unrealistic rules and laws that hamper our ability to serve our customers and country. Our prosperity and every sector of the economy, manufacturing, mining, medicine, and food from farm to table, is tied to trucks. There's nothing without trucking.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
We don't have a choice where we go to school, even if it's unsafe or we're being bullied. It's not fair. Every family should be able to choose the school that is best for us, not just the families who have a lot of money. Governor Lombardo wants to give every kid and every family the ability to go to a school where we can learn and where we're safe. He's fighting for us. Thank you, Governor Lombardo.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Assemblywoman Alexis Hansen. She is the Republican from District 32. Another of your bills is AB 167. This concerns solitary confinement in the juvenile system. Explain.
This bill has really been kind of a labor of love. I had the opportunity to be involved with the Nevada Youth Legislature. So for people that don't know, we actually have a sitting Nevada Youth Legislature of senators, and they're appointed by the senators in their district. They're high schoolers, typically juniors or seniors. And so I was helping with them in the fall. They were getting ready. They are allowed by statute one bill to bring forward to a regular session. And so I was there in the fall, and they were working on finding out which bill they were going to bring. And there were about 5, and they had a presentation. And this bill was actually a youth legislator bill. And the young lady's name is Satara Raganti. She's an amazing young woman, a senior in high school in Washoe County, goes to Sage Ridge. And her bill didn't make the final cut. And it dealt with, in the juvenile population, we call it corrective room restriction, but for simplifying for the public to understand, solitary confinement. Well, I serve on judiciary. In last session, we dealt with some reforms of solitary confinement, rightfully so. And so when I heard her bill, I thought, this is interesting. So I approached her, said, perhaps we could visit this. Maybe I could carry it as a bill draft in the regular session. So we did. We worked on it. She learned through the process that the way the bill originally came out, we found that, to their credit, the juvenile system in Nevada, in the counties and in the state, are doing some really great work. So there wasn't a lot of reforming we needed to do, but existing law is up to 72 hours a youth could be in corrective room restriction. But when you looked at the over 1,600 kids who are in the system, whether it be in the county or the state level, the majority, if it's ever used, are less than 2 hours. So that was good news. There's only maybe about 50 that are up to the 72 hours. And so the bill says that if a youth is in there more than up at the 24-hour mark, one of the staff have to kind of have a conversation and do kind of a review if mentally they're okay. Not an actual assessment, because we don't always have mental health professionals, but their staff is trained to look for signs of suicidal ideation, some other concerning behaviors. Now, granted, they are checking on these youth every 15 minutes, just to be clear, but a lot of times looking through the window, maybe bringing in their food. But at the 24-hour mark, if the child is still there, you go in and we need to refer them for an actual mental health evaluation.
You know, I've been doing this for over 40 years now, and from the very beginning, mental health has been an issue for Nevada, and I don't see how it's ever going to change, because we just can't get the number of professionals we need, even though we have lots of hardworking professionals in that business. the need is so great.
It is, and that, I think when I was a freshman legislator in 2019, that was probably the first big takeaway I had when I realized the magnitude of the mental health crisis that our courts deal with. As serving as a freshman in judiciary, when the courts came and talked to us about their needs, to see the growth of the mental health cases that they were seeing in court was like, it was phenomenally high. And I was like, wow. And you're right, we don't have enough providers. I think maybe we need to look at what are we requiring of mental health providers as far as schooling. I know from personal experience, my daughter is a mental health professional, that some of that postgraduate work, those clinical hours are pretty onerous. And so maybe we could look, at what we're requiring of our graduates.
All right, we only have about a minute left, but I wanted to ask you about SB 101, which is mountain lions and bear eating. Explain this if you can briefly.
Well, this bill, we've heard natural resources, we're eating dogs and cats. We're eating dogs and cats, This bill would propose, we don't eat felines and we don't eat bear, but this bill would propose that if you kill, which you're allowed to legally with a tag, a bear or a mountain lion in particular, that you have to take the meat and use it. You could donate it if you don't eat it, but you have to take it out. That is not something culturally that we have done, and I think that the reason behind it is admirable. It's like, well, it's considered trophy hunting, maybe we need better PR, we take the meat out, but that is essentially, I don't think we're going to solve the issue of the PR. Those that are against mountain lion hunting, against bear hunting, are never going to be for it, even if you eat it. I think the intentions are good, but it's had a very mixed reviews, and currently you're allowed to hunt a mountain lion. A lot do take the mountain lion out. They have a mount done. They might utilize the fur, but for those who maybe don't use the meat, but they want to skin it there out in the wild, it's not being wasted. It provides feed for other predators. We don't eat predators for the most part, so we don't eat carnivore. We just don't. There's a lot of concern about brain worms and higher toxins in predator meat. So it's been kind of interesting to just visit culturally how we deal with how we dispose of mountain lion and bear meat.
I think this may be the most different thing we've talked about on this program since we've been in Carson City. I thank you for taking the time to do this as we're getting close to the end of the session. I know how busy you are. Please come back soon, because I know there are other issues you want to talk about. So maybe pretty close to after session, we can come back and revisit.
Would enjoy that. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, and we'll be right back.
Meet Nevada Health Link, Nevada's official health insurance marketplace. Your link to savings, selection, free assistance, and name brand health insurance, where 90% of enrollees lower the cost of their monthly premium. Everyone deserves access to quality health coverage, no matter your income or family size. Visit NevadaHealthLink.com. A few minutes could save you hundreds of dollars per month.
Nevada Health Link. Our plans are made for your plans.
Welcome to Story County, where history meets innovation and a pioneering spirit continues to shape our future. At the heart of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we power the future with global leaders in technology and manufacturing, driving progress that reaches far beyond our county lines. From advanced manufacturing to tech innovation, our industries are creating thousands of quality careers, fueling a vibrant economy that benefits every Nevadan. Our community is our foundation. Be part of a legacy built on bold ideas and boundless possibilities. Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
It happens. And when it does, there's UMC Quick Care.
All hail the $200,000 Cash is King giveaways at Carson Valley Inn. Weekly prize drawings including thousands in cash and free play. And 2 big grand prize giveaway events, each with a $15,000 cash winner guaranteed. Only at the Carson Valley Inn.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, coming to you from Carson City at the home of the Nevada Builders Alliance. We're joined by my friend Rebecca Goff. She is the Nevada State Director for the Humane World for Animals, and you have brought your own special guest.
I have. This is Tina. She is our rescue pup. We got her about a year ago from the group Rescue in Northern Nevada.
All right, so we're here at the legislature. What is going on with you and your society and the legislature?
So our priority bill this session is AB 487, which is affectionately known as Cindy Lou's Law. It's a bill that would ban the sale of puppies and kittens in pet stores.
Okay, and what is the issue? For those that may not know, I mean, puppy mills are a story that's been around for a long time, but tell us more.
So the issue is the cruelty at the puppy mills and the whole pipeline from the puppy mills, which are mainly located in the Midwest, into Nevada. These animals are kept in small cages. The USDA requirements are only 6 inches longer than their body. And the mothers and fathers of the puppies, they live in those conditions their whole life. And then the puppies are separated from their mothers at about 8 weeks of age, which is essentially still a baby. They're put in buses or trucks or however they ship them, sent across the country to, right now, all of our stores are located in northern or southern Nevada. And then they're put up for sale where they, again, live in small areas or open pens in the middle of the store until they are purchased. And a lot of times what we saw, we did an undercover investigation this past summer in 6 Las Vegas pet stores, and all of those stores had a variety of different infractions, primarily sick puppies, lack of appropriate care for the puppies. So every step of the way, it's cruelty to the animals.
Okay, and what does this bill mandate?
It would eliminate the sale of puppies and kittens in retail pet establishments.
All right, so basically if you wanted to buy a puppy, that you would then go to a shelter, is that?
We, of course, encourage people to adopt from our local shelters and rescues, but also they're reputable breeders. Those breeders are going to be places where they do health and genetic testing for the animals to ensure that they're not passing on congenital defects. They also make sure that they do socialization and appropriate development for the puppies. They have you come to their property. They have you see where the puppies are raised. You see the moms and dads. They usually have, contracts where for some reason you can't hold on to the animal, you could return them to the breeder. Oftentimes they require spay-neuter. Like there's a number of different parameters that these reputable breeders put in place to make sure that the animal is going to have the best life possible. That doesn't happen at puppy mills or pet stores. There's no health testing. A lot of times these animals do have congenital defects, and then that health burden is passed on to the consumer unknowingly.
What kind of costs are involved if you go through a breeder?
They vary wildly depending on the breed of the animal. Off the top of my head, I don't know the exact cost through a breeder. I know that the pet stores range anywhere from, I've heard as low as about $2,000 and as high as about $6,500 for a puppy, which is astounding. Most people don't have that kind of cash on hand. So these pet stores offer predatory financing, puppy lending, so that you can finance the puppy. And a lot of times these rates are crazy. We've heard in some complaints as high as 118% interest on a puppy, a live creature.
What kind of pushback are you getting?
Primarily from businesses. Obviously, there's a concern that it would close businesses. Nowhere does it say that in the bill. Nowhere are we requiring that. In fact, the pet supply industry is like a $100 billion industry. We encourage people to transition to selling supplies and services. There are 45 non-puppy selling pet stores in Nevada that have signed on to this bill to endorse it, because they know that you don't need to sell puppies and kittens to have a successful business.
Okay, so how are the legislators responding?
Primarily positive. It passed out of the Assembly with bipartisan support and unanimous Democratic support. We got about 6 Republicans. We're just starting our conversations on the Senate since it's just gone over to the Senate side. There has been some confusion, again, about the closing of the businesses, about what specifically the bill does, but it's very straightforward once you have a moment to read the bill. I know the senators are super busy inheriting all the bills that have passed over for the Assembly. So as people read the bill, it's easier to understand.
Has there been any discussion with the governor's office at this point?
I have not had a discussion with him yet, but I know that our lobbyist, Warren Hardy, has been meeting with his team and mentioning this.
Yes, and Warren is a good friend of this program. All right, so is this the first time that this bill has come up, or has this been put forward previously in previous sessions?
This is the first statewide bill. We have been working on local ordinances. In fact, the city of Reno, the city of Mesquite, city of North Las Vegas, and Clark County do have already ordinances that prohibit the sale of puppies and kittens at pet stores. City of Las Vegas did have an ordinance that was unfortunately repealed by the former mayor shortly before it was to be implemented. And one of the reasons why we're looking at the statewide approach versus continuing ordinance by ordinance, what we saw when Clark County implemented their ban is the stores simply just moved jurisdictions to City of Las Vegas. And we saw this also when California imported their ban. The stores moved from California, like the Los Angeles area, into Southern Nevada. So the only way to stop these stores from continuing and to end this pipeline is just to do it statewide.
And this was under the reign of Mayor Goodman?
It was, correct.
And what was her reasoning?
You know, I don't know. That was before I was in this role. I'd have to go back and do a little more research as to why specifically they made that choice. It was unfortunate, though, because it would have been really beneficial to Southern Nevada not to have pet stores. As we know, their shelters are bursting at the seams. Just last week, Animal Foundation in one day took in over 150 animals in one day. So there's no reason to be importing puppies from the Midwest when we have plenty and plenty of animals here.
Are there other states that have put this legislation forward?
There are 8 other states that have already done this.
And successfully?
Yes, successfully.
Well, good luck in your venture here, and your dog is adorable.
Thank you so much. She is the light of our life and a perfect example of why you don't need a pet store. You know, we're Cocker Spaniel people. We love them, and I looked at a bunch of rescues to make sure that we could rescue a Cocker Spaniel, and we were able to get her. So even if you have a specific breed that you have your heart set on, there are plenty of rescues and the shelters, and they get all kinds of animals all the time. Your perfect pet is just waiting for you there.
And that's where we have to leave it. Rebecca Goff is the Nevada State Director for the Humane World for Animals. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
And we'll be right back.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
Welcome to the Ahern Boutique Hotel, where luxury and warmth come together in the heart of Las Vegas.
We take pride in offering a one-of-a-kind experience for both locals and tourists.
Join us for handcrafted cocktails and an unforgettable experience.
Joel's Chop House, the perfect place to savor views of the Las Vegas Strip.
Satisfy your cravings at the Ahern Chocolate Shop.
No smoking, no resort fees, and the parking is always free. The Ahern Luxury Boutique Hotel is your home away from home.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's Development Company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's Development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
When in Carson City, Nevada Newsmakers records in the conference room of the Nevada Builders Alliance. Coverage of the 2025 legislative session is brought to you by Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you. NV Energy, proudly serving Nevada, providing electricity to 2.4 million electric customers. The Retail Association of Nevada, looking out for business. And by Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers, come to you from Carson City, from the headquarters of the Nevada Builders Alliance. We'll see you on the next broadcast. Thanks for watching.